Our attitude is an outward expression of our mindset.
I
and
see.
our attitude determines whether we fail or succeed in life.
Interesting.
There are some people though who are successful, but they have a bad
attitude.
Where you need to have a great attitude
I
to have a
definitely
really fulfilling
life. Can you imagine having a spray just specifically made for people's stinking attitude? So it would be like, a Lysol or a Airwick, but just for that. Like the moment they say something, but it just that would work. Not sure.
Yeah, that would sell.
Would be a great idea.
Yeah, just once you have a stinking attitude, we just spray it and your attitude comes sweet.
Right. So we'll neutralize the room before we walk in.
Yeah.
Or we do it in the evening before we come the next day. So,
that'd be a good invention. Anybody that invent a spray for stinking attitude,
that would be good. But you would owe us some licensing or, copyright, something. We'd have to work something out. So the moment you come up with the idea, just remember that the designers of change gave it to you. But, this episode, we want to talk about, do you think attitude makes a difference?
It does. It does. Because here's the thing. Our attitude is an outward expression of our mindset.
I see.
Our attitude determines whether we fail or succeed in life.
Interesting.
There are some people though who are successful, but they have a bad attitude. Where you need to have a great attitude to have a really fulfilling life.
I definitely agree with Jamar right there on that. But as you know, the designers of change have some amazing partners that we have to highlight. And so we want to give a special shout out to our sponsors, Jace Myrie Media, Mind Food International, Superlative Auto, Grace Creates, as well as Vibrant Creative Studios. We thank them so much for allowing us to be able to do this at this level.
Yes.
So back to you on this thing about attitude. A lot of people believe that what's for you is yours, and it shouldn't really matter about your personality and your attitude and the way you view things. But good things should come to all of us.
No, our attitude matters. When all things are equal, attitude makes the difference.
Wow.
Let's say two person comes inside here for an interview. They have exactly the same job qualification. They have close to the same experience and so forth. Now, when those two individuals leave that job interview, it will boil down to their attitude. Who do you choose? The one with the negative attitude or the one with a positive attitude? That attitude that becomes a fragrance, not an odor.
Right,
because
but a fragrance.
when we have a bad odor, a negative attitude, our attitude is like odor. It repels people. People don't want to work with us. They don't want to be around us. Imagine someone who have a negative attitude. Isn't that attitude repels you? Yes. Well, guess what? If everything is equal, you're going to choose that individual who attitude resemble a fragrance. You know what fragrance does for us? It draws us together. We love fragrance. It is sweet, it's attractive. And so when you have a positive attitude, what it is also saying is that you have a positive mindset. Does attitude change everything in life? No,
it can't.
But guess what? Attitude change your attitude change your outlook in life. Because guess what? A plain nose that is pointing down is going down, and a plain nose that points up is going up. And when you have a negative attitude, what it really does, it's pointing you down, and so you become like Chicken Little running around. The sky is falling. You always find a problem in every solution. You are negative. You repel people. You just everything about you is like an odor that is repelling people.
Interesting. I am also one of those HR persons who, when I'm recruiting, attitude is everything for
Yes.
me. And so you will find people who are qualified, overqualified, over experienced for the jobs. But when you have your probing questions that you ask, you realize that this person's outlook on life is a little bit skewed and they
Yeah.
may be quite negative.
Yes.
So I'm always looking for people who are teachable and coachable and people who take feedback easily. They take criticisms in the right way.
Yes.
And yeah. And so we are always looking for that.
Here's the thing about our attitude. Our attitude is either blocking our life or it is building our life. Let me say it again. Your attitude is either blocking your life or it is building your life. And so when you have a negative attitude, sometimes you don't have the right work ethics because a negative attitude that not only express in the way we see things, but it also comes in our work ethics.
Right.
You are negative. You're not emotionally intelligent. You're outburst. You don't have the right perspective, and many times we might turn a mole into a mountain. When somebody has a negative attitude and something goes wrong, it can escalate really quick because it is the perspective through which they are looking through. And sometimes those persons with a negative attitude, they may become a warrior. And even people who tend to be people of faith, they can be a negative person because sometimes you see them on social media, they love the Lord, they are people of faith, but they are just negative. And so when you are negative, you tend to get the scraps of life. There are some exceptions though, because who we are is who we attract in our life. Because
Powerful.
people like us do things like us. When we put it this way for you to understand, birds of a feather
Talk
flock
together.
together. And when you are around negative people, when those associations come, it's really blocking your life. Now, here's the thing about the flip side. When you have a positive attitude, babes, you have the right frame of mind. I am down today, but I can get
Get
up
up back
tomorrow.
again tomorrow. Right.
The things is not going so good for me, but it's not a Pollyanna. We are not saying that if the boat is sinking and you have a positive attitude, you say, "Oh my God, the boat is not sinking. Let us stay on the
So we're
boat."
not telling you
We are
to be
not telling you that.
delulu. We're telling you
Yeah,
to
yeah,
just
we
have
are
a
saying
positive
a positive
mindset.
attitude said the boat is sinking. We have to get off of this boat, but guess what? We will be safe. We will get through this crisis. We are not going to die. We will live. A positive attitude, find a solution. Even though the boat is sinking, how do we get off? Probably we need our life jacket. Probably we need a flare to notify our next boat. But when you have a negative attitude, you say, "Oh my God, the boat is going down. We are all going to die." No. When you have a right attitude, babes, even when you are down in life, you have the right word ethics, you can get up, you have the right perspective, and you see things clearly. And so having the right attitude, it's a recipe for success.
Absolutely. So wouldn't you say that then that attitude is a product of our belief system? So it because you mentioned that the attitude is the outward
Expression, yeah.
manifestation or expression of what's happening on the inside. So for example, for somebody who gets up every day expecting doom and gloom, that's how they feel on the
Yes,
inside. They feel sad.
that's how
They
they
feel
feel.
hopeless.
That's how they feel
Right?
because our attitude, though, is really an outward expression of our mindset. And that this is why the first century theologian Paul, when he wrote this, he has been through so many things. He have been through shipwreck five. I think about 5 times he has been flagged. He have been through shipwreck 3 times, and so on. And when he wrote this, he was in a prison, and he
Right.
said, "Whatever things are true, whatever things are lovely," he said, "think upon these
Think on
things,"
these
because he
things.
wants you to have the right attitude.
Attitude.
And so when we have the right mindset, babes, we project our right attitude, which is a recipe for success. Because if our attitude is negative, then we have stinking thinking. And so we can't really project, we can't really go far in life without having this right attitude. Everything is always falling. No, you can't. And so we have to constantly fill our minds with those things. You know what makes I hear Dr. Miles Monroe say it, and we have watched a video where was a Nile crocodile, and the lion was eating something close to the edge where the crocodile was in. And when it was a crocodile or alligator, I'm not sure. When this 14 feet thing come up to the lion just roar and tap it on his nose, and that massive crocodile went back down into the water. You know why? That 14 feet crocodile could have destroyed that lion, but you know why it went back down? Because the lion had the right attitude. The lion wasn't as scared of that thing. And so the lion is not the biggest, the tallest, the smartest, but the lion is the king of the jungle because of its attitude, babes.
My only regret with Jamar saying this is that he's not facing his camera, but I'm over it. But that's an excellent point. So he pretty much just shared the story of the lion and the crocodile, and this, let's just say, for instance, this is in the Nile River. Right? And so the Nile crocodile is there. It's huge. It's gigantic. It can take that lion down. However, and I remember seeing that video, it was a lioness. And the lioness was there minding her own business, eating and everything. Was it a lioness or was it a lion?
I think it was one of the male.
It was a male.
Yeah, the male.
And the whole time you would think that the lion did not see the crocodile coming, but he saw the crocodile coming and he kept eating. When the crocodile was close enough, he roared and literally lift up his paw and just pat that thing on his nose, and the crocodile just turned right. He went back down in the water and went away. Attitude. That's it. I'm not the strongest, I'm not the fastest, but you dare not mess with me. And that's from an internal system. And so, it's sad that we have to say this, but a lot of people lose in life because they don't have that.
They have the wrong attitude
about themselves,
about circumstance. Because remember, our attitude, our mindset, and our mindset. Because our attitude, as I said repeatedly, is a outward expression of your inner thoughts. Now, when you have the wrong attitude, babes, it's like you wear lenses.
We wear lenses, right?
Yeah. And if your lenses are not clean, then your sight is foggy.
Everything is foggy.
Yeah,
everything is foggy. Even the good things you're looking at, they're foggy.
It's foggy because the lens want to clean.
Powerful.
And it is the same thing with our attitude. Our attitude shape our perspective of life.
Yes.
And so even when there is a negative circumstance, because your lens through which you are looking at is foggy.
It's out of whack.
It's out of whack. Because we see through our lens, we see through our attitude, our perspective from our mindset. And so when you have a negative attitude, babes, when things are going bad and when things are going good, it still become negative. And so our attitude determines our approach to life.
Absolutely. So what would you say about like people's attitude and their relationship? This is just before we go to our break. What do you think about how people view themselves and how it affects everybody else?
Our attitude to people is critical. When our attitude is negative, it is very difficult to nurture a relationship.
True, that's so powerful.
Yeah, and I'm talking to those who on Spotify and the streaming platform and YouTube, wherever you are listening or watching this. Have you ever disassociate yourself from someone because they have negative attitude. When a person have a negative attitude, it's draining.
Absolutely.
When you're around them, it's draining
You're
to be around
tired.
anything. You are
They're
tired. You
complaining
are
all the
upset.
time.
And
Everything is a problem.
yes, everything is a problem. And so you don't want to be. So having a negative attitude affects our relationships, our relationship with our loved one, with our immediate friend in a negative way. Because people don't want to be around you.
True, true.
Two, people don't want to work with you.
No, not at
Three,
all.
people don't want to associate with
Not
you.
at all.
And four, people is going to leave you.
People, yeah, they're definitely gonna leave. We like to be around people we like.
Yeah, we like,
People
yeah.
who make us feel good.
Yeah.
People who make the room, light. Like I see on TikTok all the time, people, they'll do these different videos and they say when their work bestie
Yeah.
is off on vacation leave, how sad they are. Or they'll share how excited they are when their work bestie is on the
Yeah.
same shift as them. Because we want to be around people that we have a connection with.
Yes.
And so our attitude does actually affect
Yes, it
all
does.
these different things.
It does.
We're gonna take a break, and when we get back, we're gonna talk about how we can change that negative attitude into something positive, because that's the end game here on Designers Outchange podcast. You wanna stick and stay. The Designers of Change podcast is sponsored by some of our amazing partners, and we want to highlight them. So we want to say thank you to Jace Mary Media, to Mind Food International, Superlative Auto, Grace Creates, and Vibrant Creative Studio. And of course, if you are checking us out on YouTube, you want to ensure that you are subscribing, like, comment, do whatever you need to do to get this out there for people who need help with changing that messy attitude. As well as if you are following us on all the streaming platforms, check us out on YouTube so you can actually get the visuals. But we're super excited to jump back into this topic about attitude. You know, when I was growing up, my mother used to tell me that your attitude determines your altitude. And then my grandmother would always say this thing that says manners carry you through the world. But I understood what she meant. When she said manners, she mean like how you relate to people.
Yes. Yes.
The fact that you'll give a smile when you're walking past. You're not looking upset all the time.
Yes.
Right? People actually want to be around you.
And yeah, we have a lot of people who people don't want to be around.
True.
Because their attitude are nasty. And once we see those people, we tend to stay far from them. And it can be people of faith. It can be your boss.
Anybody.
It can just be anybody.
Anybody, yeah.
If they belittle people, they makes your heart palpitate. And whenever you see them, you have to run for cover. Then that's a sign of negative attitude.
Absolutely.
Now, here's the thing. You said something, our attitude determine our altitude. It is true.
Yes.
Because our attitude determine our failure, our success in life. Because remember, our attitude is an outward expression
Absolutely.
of our thought. And so when we are negative, we can't see the blessing in something that is even failing.
Wow.
Do you know you have a lot of business person who turn around a failure into success?
We hear a lot of these stories
A lot
all
of
the
them.
time. And we're not talking about reading a story, and we're not talking about watching some kind of podcast or sermon. Or I'm talking about real life people who would tell us, Jamar and Nas, we've been through X. And
Yes.
it was because of that thing that we were able to do Y. And so it is powerful. And can I tell you something? It is rare that we meet great entrepreneurs with poor attitudes.
Yes,
Think about it.
That's true. Because
They are the kindest, sweetest, nicest person. They want to hear your story. They want to find out about what it is that you're doing and what keeps you excited. And they smile.
Even the Uber story was born from a negative experience.
Right.
One of the founder traveled to Paris. He was at La Web, and while when the conference finished, he was outside. It was in December. It was extremely cold.
Yeah.
And he could not get any taxi. And because they have traveled to Switzerland and France before, sometimes it can be difficult to get a taxi there. And out of that, in 2009, that young man say, you know what if I have a taxi company that when I push the button, he can tell me my balance and a car show up right at my foot. And he started one of the largest ride sharing app in the world today called Uber. That was born from a negative circumstance.
Absolutely.
And the reason why it was born from a negative circumstance is because he has the right attitude.
He had the right attitude. Because on the flip side, he could have said, what kind of crappy transportation system is this in Europe?
Yeah.
I'm not coming back here. And he could have decided that, listen, I'm going to go home and I'm going to write reviews all over the place. And I'm going to do some videos and tell people don't travel to these places because XYZ. But he said, you know what? I want to be the designer of change in this.
Yeah.
And he said, I want to be that one to change this thing. And I have
Yeah.
another story similar. What about the two salesmen that were sent to India to go check out the prospects of the shoe market? And one salesperson came back, called back head office and said, hey, we can't do business in India. People are too poor. There are many, but they're poor. They can't afford shoe. And the next salesman came back with the idea and said, listen, there are millions of people in that place. They're poor, but we can design some sandals and they can pay for those.
Yes.
And so it's all about attitude. And you need that. I mean, if you are to go anywhere in life, if you're to do anything great, you cannot have a poor attitude.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've been focusing on a lot with Amy, because sometimes I think because of the influence of her watching a million YouTube shorts and other things, that I realized that she has picked up on some of these negative thought patterns.
Yeah.
And so, for example, she'll see something and be like, wow, these people are wasting money. They're crazy. Why would they do this? And I said, well, Amy, have you ever thought that people actually work this hard so that they can afford a particular lifestyle? So they're not wasting money. They're paying for the convenience. And so, it's a matter of helping her to understand that she cannot just absorb what everybody else is saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think when you have the right attitude, it flips something bad into something
good.
blessed,
Yeah.
into something good, into something that is a blessing. When the ancient Israelite soldiers saw Goliath, they say Goliath is so big,
Right.
and we are so small. But when David look at the same thing,
The same man.
it's the same man with the right attitude, he say, this guy is too big.
I
can't
cannot miss
miss
him.
And so if you have the right attitude right now, you can turn that situation around, because you are seeing it from a different perspective. And what might be a disadvantage for you becomes an advantage for you. So your attitude give us uncommon perspective. That is it, guys. Your attitude give us uncommon perspective. And guess what? With uncommon perspective, you can see advantage. Probably a studio closed down and you say, oh my God, this studio closed down, but what if I turn this studio into a podcast studio? What if I turn it into a creative studio? What if I turn it into so and so? Because there's always, when the right attitude give you uncommon perspective.
Absolutely. You know what I love about when we go into organizations and we do trainings? I actually love the fact that they have an audience with people from the outside. So when they're sharing all the things that can go wrong in their business process. We're looking at them like, have you ever thought about this?
Yes,
Have you ever
yes.
thought about that? We've had trainings where the entire training turned into a brainstorming
Yes,
session
yes,
for
yes.
other products and services because they're getting fresh perspective.
Yes, it gives you a fresh
You
perspective.
understand? And that has to do with having the right attitude.
Attitude.
I've seen people with circumstances that are so poor, so deplorable, and they get up every day and they say, well, at least I'm not dead. I'm going to try. And that's all they need. That's all they need. They say, well, at least I have breath. I have dinner today, right? I have some cool friends. And they use that and they go off of that, and that is enough for them. So I wanted to share like a final thought about how important attitude is and how can one have a good attitude.
Your first thing, your attitude is not good because they are a religious person.
True.
No. We have seen a lot of religious person who have mean attitude. They are mean person, they are arrogant person. So here's the thing. If you have stinking thinking lead to stinking living.
Right.
And so the first way you're going to alter your attitude, you must alter your mindset. As a man thinketh in his heart,
So is it?
so is he. Solomon is not talking about your chest, so don't touch your chest right here. What Solomon is talking about in Greek, the word heart is not in your chest. The word heart simply means your subconscious mind. In Hebrew, the word heart simply means the center of reasoning. So Solomon says, a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And here's the thing, your feet will not take you where your mind has never been. And another thing is that where your mind goes, there the man goes
Yes,
as well.
powerful.
And so if you want to change, as first century theologian Paul said, he said, be ye transform. You hear that? Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so you need to renew those thoughts. He said, whatever is true, whatever is lovely, he said, whatever is noble, he said, think on these
He left
things.
a powerful instruction.
Yes, he never said, he never said don't think about the negative things, because if he said don't think about the negative thing, you are automatically going to think about it.
True.
For example, now, if I said don't think of your left hand, you're automatically going to think of your left hand right
Yes.
now. You're thinking about your left hand right
Right.
now. So he never said don't think about the negative. He said he gave you an instruction, and he said think on these things. And so you have to work on your attitude. You have to get up, you have to fill your mind with the right stuff. You have to be around the right person. And it has to be intentional. We have to be, because there are so many little distractions every day. We are coming, you don't get your cue card to come and set, you become upset. But you can choose. There are so many little things. There are so many things that can get you upset. There are so many things that can go haywire. And we are not saying that having right positive attitude is what they call it?
It's automatic.
It's not automatic.
Just gonna happen for you.
Yeah, we're not going to be mushy and we live in a la la la. No, we're not saying. We're not saying that if you have the right attitude, a positive attitude, is going to shield you from the bad stuff in life. We are not saying that. We are saying when you have a right attitude and you are going through stuff, you know that, guess what? It will get better.
Absolutely.
I'm going to see the good inside of it, even though I can't see it now.
Right now. Powerful.
The right attitude sets you up for success. The right attitude attracts.
People.
It's not an odor, but your right attitude is a
fragrance.
Is a fragrance. And guess what? When you have the right attitude, you have better relationship. And the last point, so you can wrap up. You know, when we have good relationship, babes, we live longer. We live a more fulfilling life because we are sociable people. Did I pronounce that?
Yes, you're correct. That's correct.
We are sociable people. We want to be around people. But when we have an orders and our attitude, we're not going to live good. We're not going to be fulfilling because we need people.
Absolutely powerful. I couldn't have said that better. So, guys, attitude, in fact, does make the difference. And here on Designers of Change podcast, we are all about having the right positive attitude. We just want to say thank you again to our amazing partners. Jay's Myri Media, Mind Food International, Superlative Auto, Grace Create, and Vibrant Creative Studio. We thank you guys for your partnership. And remember, if you are watching this on YouTube right now, remember to like, share, subscribe. Help us to push this thing out there to other people that can get help and join the Designers of Change train. Also, follow us. Make sure you are streaming on the other platforms. We'll share all the information in the description bar below. But we thank you so much for sticking and staying with us. This is episode 10. Jamar and Natassia Wright. We're out. Blessings.
Thank you for joining us for the Designers of Change podcast. Join us on the next episode.